Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, April 1st. We kick off Q2 today as investors cautiously await the latest from Trump on tariffs. Markets left a rocky Q1 behind on a slightly better than bad note. During regular trading yesterday, the Dow climbed from early session lows to end up 417 points higher, or 1%. The S&P 500 was able to eke out a gain of 30 points, or just more than 0.5%. The Nasdaq ended in the red, but up from steep session lows off 32 points, or 0.14%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're lower. We're down 0.47% on the S&Ps this morning. I'm not really surprised, by the weakness. I mean, yesterday was the last day of the quarter, and the last day of the quarter can be an update because people are changing and modifying their positions to make their funds look better towards the end of the quarter. That's commonplace. But this morning we're seeing, the markets, weaken because, we're waiting on clarity on the tariff situation. And that's really the key because people don't want to make decisions when they don't know what to expect in the future. I mean, the U.S. auto manufacturers, they're making a hard push right now to extend certain car components from the tariffs. We'll see if that goes through or not. President Trump is expected to sign some executive orders today related to national security and economic policy. And there's a press conference today at noon. So we might get some tidbit of news with respect to what the tariff situation is going to be. So we got to pay attention to that press conference. Key economic reports today. ISM Manufacturing data is coming out. The JOLTS data is coming out. Those could be market movers. I see a Texas court, rejected Johnson & Johnson's use of Chapter 11 for its talc cancer fund. They can't walk away from this. They've been trying. PVH and PRGS, Progressive Software, they're trading higher this morning after releasing earnings last night, which is all positive. And then we're taking a look overseas, and we're seeing what the action is like overseas this morning. And for the most part, we are showing gains, and that's nice to see. I mean, you're looking at the DAX this morning, and the DAX is trading higher. The DAX is higher by 1.12%, or 247 points. That there was the annual inflation data that came out of the Eurozone, which eased to 2.2% in March, which is slightly below the market expectations of 2.3. So, that's positive. The FTSE is higher by 56 points, or 0.66%. Seeing some positive action in financial stocks. The CAC is higher by 61 points, or about 0.8%. That's nice to see. Luxury stocks, mining stocks are showing gains. Last night in Asia, we did see, some positive action as well, where the Nikkei was flat to higher. I mean, it was up 6 points at 0.02%. But still, it's higher. Japan's unemployment rate unexpectedly fell to 2.4% in February. That's down from 2.5% in January. Which was better than market expectations. So Hong Kong finished with a gain of 0.38%, or 87 points. Positive action in communications, healthcare, and tech stocks. Shanghai also rose 0.38%. PMI manufacturing data continues to display growth. The PMI data, came in at 51.2, which was up from 50.8 in February. Now, there's a lot of rush to manufacturing to get it done before the new tariffs are announced. So, this boom in manufacturing in China should not be, expected to continue for the entire year, but we did see it for the last 5 months or so. So that's nice to see. Then we're taking a look at oil, and oil's been moving. It's going between gains and losses. I mean, it was lower, then it moved higher. Now it's flat to lower this morning. Geopolitical factors. This is what's causing the disruption in oil prices right now. Now, on the one hand, you got OPEC. They're going to start increasing their quotas as of today, so they're going to be producing more oil. But on the other hand, you've got these geopolitical factors with President Trump, where he's coming up, with tough talk against Russia and Iran. But he dialed back the Russia language a little bit, earlier today. So, oil prices are flat to lower. I mean, WTI is at $71.44 a barrel, whereas Brent is at $74.72 a barrel. But, there's a lot riding on this. Peace talks in Ukraine, and obviously, they're going to continue to bomb the Houthis, and there's talk of an Iranian bombing in Iran. That wouldn't be positive for oil prices. That would cause it to move higher. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with these factors because they're going to be the determination for the price of oil in the near future. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, we're really, keeping an eye on those Trump tariff talks, geopolitical issues, and a number of other catalysts really on the economic front. But each day we do want to make sure that we don't skip over earnings action because there's, even when it's slow, a few to note. So we will start there before we get into the other events of the day. Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's earnings action?
Well, we're starting off with Progressive Software, which released earnings last night. That's ticker PRGS, Paul, Richard, Gray, Sam. They beat by 25 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. That stock's up 7.16% this morning. Then you got PVH, the retailer, Paul, Victor, Henry. They beat by 6 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at PVH this morning, that's up. That stock is higher by 15.28%. I mean, there was a lot of negativity going into these two reports, but these beats and the guidance they gave, are turning these stocks higher. Upcoming after the bell today, we got Ncinco. That's ticker NCNO. Nancy Charlie, Nancy Oscar. Their EPS is 18 cents. Expected move is 14.74%. Put call ratio is 1.34. So I'm not that kind of gets me a little scared of taking a position in NCNO before earnings this afternoon, Emily. But that's what I have for you in terms of earnings announcements.
And on the economic front, there's a number of things we're watching, key pieces of data really a little bit throughout the week each day that we want to keep track of. And again, we're really anticipating any announcements when it comes to tariffs, and we're really trying to gauge the overall health of the economy, and what the Fed will be doing next. So keeping track of these day in and day out, certainly important. So Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
Well, we got the JOLTS report coming out at 10 a.m. Expectations are for a reading of 7.69 million. Last month it came in at 7.74 million. Then we got the construction spending that's coming out at 10 a.m. And of course, the ISM Manufacturing Index. The index is actually expected to come in with a reading of 49.8 for March. That's lower than the 50.3 reading that came in for February. But the tariff, easing demand, rising price pressures, they're all contributing to slower growth in the manufacturing sector. And you look at the Fed. The Fed came out and they lowered the GDP growth rate. They expected to slow to 1.7% in 2025. That's down from their 2.1 forecast, which came out in December. So I'm not surprised to see the expectations of the manufacturing data come in below the 50 mark. But we'll have to see what it happens when those reports are released at 10 a.m. this morning. But I also want to point out at 9 a.m. we're going to be hearing from Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin as he's going to be giving a speech. That could be interesting. We'll have to wait and see if he touches on the tariff issue or not. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic data coming out today, Emily.
And Bill, you'll be gathering all of that information using your economic alert with your NewsWare. And, as you're gathering this information and the markets are looking ahead to geopolitical issues and these presidential administration decisions, and we're navigating these very rocky markets, how do we stay on course? How do we keep a cool head in the game? And one of those ways is to continue to gather that information, not just the earnings and the economic events, but still other types of data, news, and information, the stories behind the stocks, what's going on underneath these companies, corporations, and the market. You're looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, catalyst calls. You group your stocks together like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Just doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks this morning. I'm seeing 6 higher. I'm seeing 2 unchanged, and that would make 22 lower. So that doesn't pose well for a positive opening for the Dow. But the S&P. I mean, you look at the heavily cap weighted stocks like the FANG stocks, and they're all trading lower with the exception of Tesla, which is showing a gain of 1.47%. So it's positive. You look at some of the news behind the tape, like Apple, that Foxconn, they're expected to assemble up to 30 million iPhones in India this year, pulling away from China. Interesting. Amazon, their Alexa Plus rollout, apparently it's missing some features. I was reading the features. Nothing is really that important. Nothing is really that game changing. It's a rollout. Yes, it's not. It's not a game changing rollout. Meta, I see that Zuckerberg's trying to enlist Trump in his fight against the recent EU ruling against Meta platforms. Tesla, I mean, Tesla's trading higher today. It's up, 1.55% right now. I mean, the delivery data is due out tomorrow. And you look at the data that has come out. I mean, you look at the data in France, Tesla sales fell by nearly 40% in France in March. And then, in the Netherlands, the Q1 registrations dropped 42% in Q1. So, I mean, these delivery dates are going to be, the delivery data is going to be important for Tesla tomorrow. We'll see if they come out with something positive. But, I see the brokers, they're negative on the stock. They are negative on the stock. Easiest way to say it. They're not positive. They are negative. And then what else we have? In Dow Jones 30s, we got Boeing, ticker BA, 737 MAX jet production slowed to 31 in March. That's down from 38 in February. It was a safety issue. They were trying to make sure the planes are safe, and they have to do that. So they do have a little lower production. It's going to be acceptable. Boeing shares are trading off this morning, not significantly, but they're going from bad to not so bad, and that's when the stock really can move. So Boeing's interesting to me still. Microsoft it said to close its AI lab in Shanghai, and it said it was done due to growing political tensions, geopolitical tensions between the U.S. and China. Terms of merger news, there's nothing really big on the tape, but Levi, Levi, they're reporting earnings tomorrow. Now, there's been talk about them selling their Dockers division, so we'll have to see if there's any comments on that tomorrow when they do their earnings announcement. In terms of guidance, PVH, they see Q1 EPS coming in at $2.10 to $2.25. Street estimates $2.24. Not great, okay, but good enough for the street to move it higher by 15% this morning. Progressive Software, they see Q2 EPS coming in at $1.28 to $1.34. Street estimate is at $1.17. Now that's positive. That's an uptick. There's no real shareholders meeting significant, but there is this optical fiber and communications conference that's going on today. Cisco, Marvell, Ciena, and Broadcom, they're all going to be presenting. So that's something to keep an eye on. In terms of catalyst calls, so, I just want to point out it's the start of the quarter, and Wells Fargo released their tactical ideas, and their best tactical ideas moving forward are Checkpoint, CHKP, Capital One, COF, Capri, CPRI, Dollar Tree, BLTR, KKR, Eli Lilly, LLY, PTC, PTC Therapeutic, PTCT, that's PTC Therapeutics, Roku, ROKU, and Rhythmic Pharmaceuticals, RYTM. Yeah, interesting. Goldman also put out its conviction list. They added GE Veranova, ticker GEV. They added NET. They added T as an AT&T, and KGT to their conviction list. And IBM was removed. But IBM's had a good run. But that's what I have for in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, a new month, a new quarter. What is your pick of the day today?
I'm going to go with AT&T. Ticker T is in Tom. I mean, it's all about the safety in the telecom industry right now. I mean, it's always been a source where people go to kind of ride out the market's volatility. They pay good dividends. There's and plus you get possible stock appreciation, more so to the upside than the downside. That's for sure. But yesterday's call volume not positive. 26,888 versus 450,000. Versus 45,030. So, that was negative, but about 1.6%, 1.6 puts to every call. Open interest is positive. 639K to 481K. Major brokers are positive on the stock. I mean, Citibank raised its price target yesterday. Goldman came in, added to its conviction list today. But, that add to the conviction list that typically boosts the stock price in the pre-market. It's been my experience, you can't buy it in the pre-market and expect gains during the market. That's kind of tough to do. So I got to pull back on my price target. I'm thinking 28 to 28.15 this morning with a chance for a rally later this afternoon. But that's my pick of the day. AT&T, ticker T as in Tom, Emily.
Bill, as you mentioned, it was added to that Goldman conviction list, but giving us that detail there about watching that pricing, that specific entry point, watching the pre-market, and on top of that, playing a sector that you feel like you might be able to find some safety in all this volatility. The telecom sectors where you made the pick of the day yesterday. We will do a recap on that pick of the day, see how March ended up. But before we do that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Ticker GTN, Gray Stop Nancy. Gray Media and the Minnesota Twins announced a 10-game fee over air TV package. Interesting. Phantom Pharmaceuticals, PHAT, they announced a new CEO. I got a lot of the auto figures from the Chinese automakers this morning. Telflex receives FDA 510 clearance. They have a intra-aortic balloon pump which they got the clearance on. Pfizer, EU regulators approved expansion of an RSV drug for older adults, 16 over, positive. Pharma industry is lobbying Trump for phased tariffs. OpenAI raised $40 million in that SoftBank-led round funding. They're valued at more than Chevron CVX. Eli Lilly said the company sued two mass compounders for selling unapproved products containing drugs for their weight loss and diabetes medicine. Freeport McMoran, FCX, the miner lowered its forecast for its first quarter gold sales on Monday after shipping timing issues in Indonesia. Intel, the new CEO on Monday, he outlined a leaner version of the chip maker in which he would work to directly with engineers to develop new products based on feedback from, customers. Makes sense. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into a new quarter of trading, let's do a quick check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Vodafone. Yesterday, Nokia announced that it will partner with Vodafone to expand the Vodafone Idea optical network in India. Just a little headline there. But as we pointed out with your pick of the day for today, you're looking to find some safety in telecom. Again, really cautious question marks as we go into each trading day. So, Bill, how did your call work out?
I mean, it worked out. I mean, listen, these are low volatility plays right now, but you look at the stock, it opened up at $9.34, hit a high yesterday of $9.42, but this morning it had already traded $9.45, which beats the 1% goal. So yeah, Vodafone worked out. The numbers are there. You can't expect telecom to have big jumps in volatility, but you know what? It is a flight to safety right now, and telecom industry is known for that. So it worked out. Very happy, Emily.
Safety play there that did work out for a win. And with that, 21 picks in March, only 2 real losses, 1 flat trade. Even with the flat trade, you're looking at an 86% win rate. If we toss that out, 90% without those flat trades. But listen, the S&P 500 was down 5% for the year. So I'm going to call a 90% not bad at all in March. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's AT&T pick of the day, see how April kicks off. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.